You have to have three, yeah.
Yeah, a minimum of 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could have started, but.
Right, no. Right.
All right, we'll call this special meeting of the Historic District Commission to order at 6:10 PM. And I will seat Keatsman as a full member. So jumping back in, starting on page 59 of the document, but section 2-11.
Just get your.
We'll start on that page. I think we finished off either at the roof form start or just prior to that. So does anyone have any comments or changes to that page?
No. What page is it?
2-11.
I know this is going back, but if you go to 2-8, the word mainstream on the last paragraph.
That should be one word.
One word, yeah.
Okay. I fixed that. What? Anything on that page?
Nothing on 2-11.
You caught up?
Yep.
Okay. Anything on the next page?
Nothing.
I mean, most of this is, as you said, it's just descriptive, you know.
Yeah.
It was fascinating too. I mean, like a trip down memory history lane.
2-13, the only edit I had was there was two, what is it called when you skip a line?
When
And grab, like,
oh,
you do 2 returns by accident instead of 1.
I don't know.
It's got something, but anyways, there was 2 spaced right there.
Right there.
So I deleted 1.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
After the word pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I see it.
Big changes. That was it for me. 2-14. 2-15. 2-16. I had several things. Okay, I'll go into my stuff. So originally it said in general, originally it said,
Are we on skylights?
no, right
Or
above that.
above it. Okay.
I couldn't find where it was. So I changed the paragraph just so it was consistent with what we've been doing recently. I said in general, both gable and hip dormers may be an appropriate way to utilize existing attic space. And then it said, but the addition of new dormers on existing architectural significant roof structures is discouraged. I just deleted that because we've been pretty lenient with dormers.
Yeah.
And I think it's more consistent to not say it's discouraged, but to just leave it open-ended. And then the rest of the paragraph went on to say dormers may also be a useful way to reduce the apparent scale of new construction by incorporating useful floor area into the roof form instead of an extra full story. I just didn't think the negative piece needed to be in there.
All right, great.
And then on the next paragraph, this is another thing, because they were discouraging shed dormers, but shed dormers have become significantly more common. So I just rewrote the paragraph to say if shed dormers are used, they should be clearly subordinate to the primary roof form and are best used on broad, low hung roofs, period. A roof pitch of any shed dormer less than 4 inches vertical dimension and a 12 inch horizontal, so 4 over 12 is discouraged. Just basically say don't make them flat. Because you don't really want structures that have the gable and then have 2 flat sections.
So a roof pitch of any shed
So
dormer.
should not, it's discouraged.
It's discouraged if the dormer roof pitch becomes less than a form pitch. So basically, if the dormer is like this, anything that's kind of becomes like this, where the structure just becomes a square box, is discouraged because
I understand.
Aesthetically.
and then the only other thing I did was in the skylight section, and there's a reason why. I took the line that said skylights generally should not be visible from public view, and where they are visible should be as small as practical. I just bolded that section, that one line. And only because of the pushback that we got, or the comments we received relative to the Oyster Club skylights. So I don't think that we shouldn't vote yes if there's an opportunity where it makes sense, but I think they should be discouraged.
I didn't know they even had skylights.
I mean, either.
What'd you say?
I didn't know, I agree. I didn't know Oyster Club had skylights.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with skylights personally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of instances where, say you don't, sometimes people have a choice of putting a dormer on a roof or putting some skylights in to get some light in. And personally, I don't have a problem with skylights. I never have. But I know that, there aren't a ton of them in the historic district, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't care.
It was these.
Oh. Wow.
I don't think it's the worst thing if they're in the right place. I just
Yeah, if they're not, if
they're-
they're kind of hard to see, what's the,
like I have them in my house, but
Yeah.
they're on that flat section and they're kind of tucked to the back.
yeah.
Well, there's one that was there from like the 80s and I had nothing to do with the other two.
How do you feel about skylights, Ted?
They're okay. I mean, I think on the front facades of some buildings, they probably don't look so great, so. But if for personal use.
I think it's, I mean, maybe I'm agreeing with you. I mean, I think it's a question of, okay, let me see what you want to do and then I'll make a judgment. That's what I'm
Right,
sort of saying,
Right,
as opposed to just,
Agreed.
because as you say, because the Oyster Clubs clearly are, you can see them.
Right. But they're not in your face.
but they're not in your face,
Right.
I don't think, but
Yeah.
No, I think it should go.
so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just remember we got a few comments that.
Yeah, which is to be expected, I guess, but I just think that on a case by case basis. So I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to maybe, what did you say, Eric, again?
I didn't change anything. I just bolded the sentence because the paragraph still allows for it. It says it's a non-traditional building element, but you can't approve them. And then I just bolded the part that said they should not be visible from public view, but if they are visible, they should be as small as practical. Which still leaves a ton of leeway because as small as practical.
What's
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
What is that? Yeah.
Practical from the
Eight-
standpoint of letting in enough light, or practical from the standpoint of,
8 feet by 10 feet.
So you got some wording you'd like better than just bolding, because bolding makes it seem like a point of emphasis and just,
Well, I think it kind of is. I think it is. I think it's okay because it gives you that, the wording gives the out, which is they
Okay.
should be as small as practical.
all right,
So you can do what you want with it and someone later can do what they want. with it. But at least it discourages the use of like, let's just throw them everywhere we possibly can.
right.
Which wouldn't happen, but. I didn't know this paragraph though about skylights associated with sunrooms.
Mhm.
I don't even know what they're talking about. If anyone understood it better than I did.
Like making a greenhouse off
Yeah,
the
it's
back
like-
of your house.
Right, on the side, like the Mark Twain house, he had a little conservatory.
Like an actual, like, that's what they're.
It looks like a greenhouse stuck
Yeah.
onto his living room.
Yeah.
is
Just
that
a-
something that
I haven't seen any, and
I've never seen it.
the
garage.
Zeta came in some years ago with a proposal to build something similar to that. They abandoned it.
Original one, yeah.
Yeah, remember that when they were going to
Yeah.
expand into the back? I don't have any particularly strong feelings about conservatory type greenhouse additions either.
Mhm.
I mean, greenhouses go back many
Right.
centuries and years. So
Depends how they're done.
what they seem to be saying is to say, we're connected to an existing structure, often will be deemed to be out of scale. Well, maybe. I mean, typically a greenhouse or a conservatory is quite a bit smaller than the main structure,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's, excuse me, but it says sunroom and conservatory will be considered with discretion. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it gives the out.
It's fine,
again.
maybe. So just,
So
Are we-
just, I don't want to very too close to home, but Milestone's got a big translucent roof over the outdoor patio.
yeah, Milestone probably a little bit different category just because it's
I know, but
structurally it's
you
different.
could
but I
consider
agree.
that a skylight in a way, right?
Yeah,
I still think it's not visible from a public way.
I think it's okay. I'm not trying to get you in
We'd
trouble
have to
here.
change the definition of public way though, if we're gonna do that.
Where is that? What we did?
It's pretty, we went through it earlier, the thing defining public way.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about, you know? I mean, technically, any place that someone can walk into, I mean, it becomes a public way.
Yeah.
So my experience with it from the building code is it's a public way. And what would be considered plain view from a public way is, from the building code standpoint, anything that allows me to walk from the public way to the front door of a building or an entrance. That's considered.
I made the comment a while ago, his courtyard. If he wanted to block it off and shut it down, he could shut it down.
Yeah, you could.
If he just said, forget it, close your visitor doors, it's not public anymore.
I don't know if he could, because it's probably part of a required means of egress from certain spaces. So it would probably, and if that's private property, it's part of the required means of egress from that property until they get to the street.
Right, well, but yeah, well, you're right. So close, well, you're right. So you could never, he's right. You could never gate and lock it. Because there is a
For safety purposes,
There
your
is a-
people have to get
But
out.
then if you're making that argument, that means that any structure that has a means of egress, including a house, potentially a window on the backside, becomes a public way. In the event of like a emergency.
But there's a middle, and our
Oh.
book talks about public access. Like if you have a business and people can walk
Yeah.
up to your business, then everything they can see walking up to the business
Yeah.
counts. But if it's, if you have a restaurant in your house kind of thing, then it's all okay and stuff. But if it's just my private residence, then I don't have to worry about what people see when they walk up my sidewalk.
Yeah.
I think that's in this
Yeah.
book somewhere when they're
Mhm.
trying to say what counts as a public way. It's not necessarily it's a public street, it's that the public has a justified reason to walk there to go to. my
well, if
dentist
someone's
or
going to
something, so
Margaritas, that anyone can go
Right.
there and walk in. That's what makes it a
That's
public.
right. That's what I would say in this case, is that there. But if Margarita, if they all left and it was all renters, you could do different things, I guess. Because the public wouldn't go into the courtyard anymore, only residents.
Right, so I think in that case, you could prohibit someone from going into the courtyard, but you couldn't put up a gate so someone couldn't get out.
Correct. You would have to maintain the required means of egress from for the occupants,
Right.
tenants,
Right.
residents at that point to the public way, which would be Water Street, or if there's any kind of rear access that allowing that.
And it's like, and of course, both those accesses into Margaritas are also fire lanes, though I've been told repeatedly by the multiple fire chiefs, there is no way in hell they're ever taking a fire truck in. So they don't want the building to fall,
Right.
Mhm.
but still there.
So, does anyone have any changes to this kind of section besides bolding that one sentence? Moving on.
Roofing.
I had nothing except for bolding one other sentence on the slate, the paragraph that starts with slate roofs. We're generally limited to public buildings and more elaborate. I just bolded the preservation of existing slate roofs is encouraged and only under unusual practical difficulty, and to the rest of the sentence, I just added it to be bold. But as I say that, I also can't think of one slate roof anymore besides the Chelsea Groton bag. So maybe this is all for naught.
Yeah. Well, somebody might build a new one.
But they're talking.
This is
he's
talking about
bolding the
preserve, this is
pres-
talking about
the
preserving a
preservation.
slate.
I know, just.
Well, does anyone care if it's bolded because it just says if you still have it? One
Let's
place.
keep
We'd
it.
like to keep it.
It's fine if it is, it's fine if it isn't, in my mind. Are there clay roof tiles? That's something I just was unaware of.
Clay and concrete roof tiles, I have not seen that anywhere.
It was-
In the
Here.
district. I mean,
I don't know, concrete roof tile.
Is that, what is a concrete roof tile, if you don't mind me?
So,
You see them on industrial buildings.
yeah, they
sometimes.
make them and they're made out of concrete. They're not actually not like clay terracotta, and they mimic clay
Right.
terracotta, and they also make them to make them look like slate, where it's like a composite.
Oh, interesting.
You like almost those old style sinks that they had that was supposed to look like marble, but they're not. They're actually poured concrete.
Oh, the
Or-
ones that look like soapstone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So they're-
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, and they make roof products that mimic that as well.
Okay. The only thing we ever bought was like the Da Vinci company that makes the composite slate and shake,
Yeah,
but it's like a PVC type
right,
material.
right.
Okay, interesting.
Interesting. Alright. Anything on chimneys? I had one comment at the end, right above masonry, the masonry section. I said, do we want to add something about gas stove vents, just because that's come up over and over again? That meaning
The one on Pearl Street or Gravel Street
Yeah.
or whatever.
but the power vents. I mean, something that they should be located on the rear, they should be concealed. They can't really be concealed though.
Right.
Or their placement should. I mean, shouldn't, because my whole gripe with that one house was that it was like in the front
Yeah, stuck on the side.
and. If possible, do we just have to word it, if possible, should be. Not in public view? I'm not wording it right, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I mean, you know, obviously a lot of that whole issue has got to do with what the inside of the house is
Correct.
and how it's laid out.
Right.
I think we're making a mountain out of the molehill. My personal opinion with this,
Okay.
I mean, I just don't think one of these little vents in the side of a house is that big of a deal. I don't care if it's on the front or not. I got one on the front of, you know, my Dutch Bell house there on Randall's. No one has come to complain to me about it yet. It's been 20 years. Still waiting. I mean, because it's basically the paint, the same color as the siding pretty much.
Well,
That
then
might have been
let's,
because you painted it, but theirs was like stainless on white.
You know,
Right.
Well,
I
you know,
mean, but that's, I mean, then
maybe-
let's integrate what you just
maybe
said.
you should say something about, you know, if it's impossible, if it proves impossible to locate the vent anywhere but where it's visible, then the vent should be painted to match the color of its
Perfect.
surrounding finishes on the outside walls of the house or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd move more towards Eric on this thing because I'm now thinking that all auxiliary stuff to a building, if it can be shielded or not visible, that would be preferable because then just the architecture of the building stands out. And but you know, these things, you know, you don't want to hear my speech about global warming and stuff again, but shielding these things seems
Yeah, that's not
reasonable.
relevant to our discussion.
know. But shielding there's a whole bunch of stuff that falls into auxiliary equipment that if it would be nice if it wasn't visible.
Right,
But the trouble I get into here is I don't know how to articulate that if they, you know, if this is the only place they can put it.
well,
It's
that-
not that big and bad, so I think we should have,
but
be
that-
able to use discretion on approving them too,
But-
right? So what I'm saying is I prefer if they were not around, but if that's a real burden and we're not supposed to consider this, but I also think the only reason it doesn't talk about how difficult it is for the person is because that would be really hard to articulate in a guidebook like this.
All I can tell
Well-
you is that when mine went in, I was dealing with the old Historic District Commission,
Yeah.
which was about as rigid as you could get. And Dick Seeger had no problem with it. And if Dick Seeger had no problem with it, then no one should have a problem with it.
No, I
I'm
get,
just using it as an example of all the other auxiliary stuff. It's the smallest one. I think it's the least bothersome because now it gets down to like all the houses have to have water vents, right? They all have a dryer vent somewhere. They all have vents
Well, you're right.
all over the place. So those I think are okay. Or even the piping on mini splits looks like
I
a
mean,
gutter
I
downspout.
think the
again.
piping on mini splits is far more objectionable
I agree.
than a vent on a gas fireplace, way more.
I agree, but I like how you worded it, like if it has to be in the view of the public, let's do your very best to make it blend in with the siding. We're not gonna deny it, but just, we're gonna ask you to make it blend in with the siding as possible.
What's another word for blending?
Um,
Well, you could just say, every effort you make to make the item the same color and finish as as a surrounding.
Here's my crafted sentence. Exposed gas vents should be located in an area that is limited or not visible from a public way. If it must be visible due to building constraints, materials and color should be considered to conceal or hide
Mhm.
visibility.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying to find another word for hide.
Meld.
Obscure? No.
Disguise.
Disguise, conceal, make it less noticeable.
I think that's reasonable now. Like, if you can locate them out of the where they're not visible, great. If they have to be visible, then look to finding a material that blends in. Proposed gas vents should be located in an area that is limited or not visible from a public way. That is less visible,
The public way.
less or not visible from a public. No, is that the right word?
Less.
No, is limited or
Well, less or not, that works. Less visible, not visible.
Reasonable effort should be made to reduce the visibility of gas vents. I don't know what that would,
in an area that is least or not visible. Least visible? I don't know why I'm fighting this. Least or not visible from a public way.
I would use less instead of least, I think.
yeah,
Reasonable efforts. What was that again?
Should be made.
Did you say something else?
Every effort should be made.
just most effort.
Well, best
All
efforts,
effort,
best
best
efforts. How about best efforts?
Not just effort.
Best efforts is stronger than good faith.
All right.
Every effort should be made to conceal visibility. However, if it must be visible due to building constraints, materials and color should be considered to conceal or disguise visibility.
That's good.
Very good.
Anything on this masonry stuff?
It was just interesting that they discourage stone buildings.
Yeah, I think that was on. But it's true that there aren't any. That I can think of.
Yeah. It is.
So,
There's a couple on the Stonington side.
except the Mystic Knowing Library. So I think I can think of. I didn't have anything on the basement stories and foundations because that's fairly accurate. On the siding piece, I only had. I had a kind of some big changes to the second to the last paragraph. Where it started with aluminum or vinyl siding.
Where are you?
Right above windows. On page 2-22,
No.
the second paragraph from the top.
Yeah.
So we're not really approving, well, we haven't approved aluminum or vinyl siding, I think, since I've been on this. So the original sentence or the original paragraph seemed to kind of indicate that you could potentially get approval. So what I changed it to was aluminum or vinyl siding will not be permitted in the historic district, period. There are several composite clapboard products on the market. The Historic District Commission may permit the use of these composite materials. However, restoration or in-kind replacement of traditional wood siding is highly encouraged.
Not
It gets
composite?
vinyl and aluminum out of it because we're not
Sure.
doing it. And then it basically says, do it in wood. If you're not going to do it in wood, and you want to come for Boral or Hardy.
Hardy's a
Fine.
cement board stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seen Hardy on TV commercials more often than ever before?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's got a first name.
James Hardy.
Yeah.
And this only refers to siding, not trim.
Correct. I don't know if we even got the trim.
Yeah.
I have no problem leaving in vinyl PVC or PVC trim when we get to that. I also, if there was a vinyl siding that was half decent, I wouldn't.
Well, sometimes depending on how they do vinyl siding, you can actually
Right.
fake people out pretty well, but it's got to be a lot of times it has to be with non-vinyl trim. It's when you get into the vinyl trim with the receiver for the,
Yeah.
that's when it starts to look,
Junky.
yeah.
Just as a point of clarification, are you including all vinyl siding? Not just clapboard style, or all the shake vinyl siding that's out now, all of the different,
Yeah, we haven't approved any of that.
okay,
And personally, I don't think we should.
all right. So what you're talking about includes, when you say vinyl siding, that includes all vinyl siding products?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's going to be very limited new construction in the historic district unless someone tears something down. So the likelihood of someone coming with a standard new construction, let's call it, and saying, I want to do vinyl siding.
But even residing, it's pretty common that people will reside and they want something that is considered a little more appealing or a little more realistic than like vinyl clapboard. So they'll use the wood shake products, the cedar impressions, that type of stuff.
Not here.
Not at all.
No. I don't think we've ever seen a cedar impressions application.
No, not even like as an accessory, like just doing a gable end or just doing an accent piece of a house.
No,
No.
not that I can remember.
I think there may be one over on Cliff Street. New construction. But what about like the bridge building? The bridge operators building?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not vinyl, that's not vinyl.
That's cedar impressions. It's vinyl,
Is that Cedar Impressions?
Yeah. Which I don't think they should have done. I think they should have done, especially on that.
I thought it was because
Did
they're
we
cedar.
approve? Was that up for us?
Someone did.
Because that's a state.
Yeah, the
that's a
state
fed-
not
that's a-
subject to,
That's not subject to our jurisdiction,
No.
because that's a state federal kind of,
Yours, me, nobody. They do what they want.
right? So I don't think we approved that,
no, it didn't come before us.
right? That's what I mean.
So my question is, there isn't some kind of what I would call resins or polymers going to get better and better and better, so where they look as good as wood?
Well, that's why I mentioned it, because those product lines are expanding all the time.
Yeah.
And they're constantly adding accents and styles. That the vinyl siding product world seems to be growing and expanding.
Yeah, it
So that-
definitely is.
Yeah, that's why I want you.
I don't know,
So
I'm
when
not for either, Eric, I'm just saying, I think
Yeah.
eventually the quality is gonna get so good that people are gonna think that we got our heads in the sand or something, and we're not.
Which I
being
think-
reasonable.
We can change it at that point.
Yeah.
Or someone else down the road can. If they
Right.
create a
No, no, I'm
product
just
that's,
talking.
yeah, if they create a product that's reasonable, I wouldn't have any objection to it being used. I think PVC, if you use it as trim boards and you paint it, like, no one can tell.
Right.
I agree. But I think until that day comes. I mean, there
It's
are,
not here yet, you're saying, so let's wait.
the only thing that's like close to decent, in my opinion, is Certainty. Or no, Maybach or something like that makes a vinyl
Yeah.
shake, but they're one shake.
Yeah.
So you open the box, you put it up like you put up cedar shake. It's pretty darn good, but it's also like, I think it's like $500, $400 a square.
Very expensive.
Yeah,
Really.
It's more expensive than
high-end
wood.
Composite product.
but
Alright.
don't
Yeah,
forget
good.
too, if someone comes with something like that, the guidebook still in the beginning that allows us to do whatever we want.
Right.
I think the change of the paragraph is really discouraging, like going to Home Depot, buying
right.
white vinyl off the shelf and throwing it up on the front of your
Right,
house
Right.
on Westminster,
that makes sense.
you know. I mean, aluminum's out. Can you even get aluminum siding anywhere?
I don't think so. Most of the time when I see guys, they're making it when they're in repairs and stuff on it.
Yeah.
and then you clean it.
And I think it's fine to say too, we also say that Historic District Commission may permit the use of these composite materials, so like. It's not like, it's just
Yeah, I get it.
discouraging.
It's good.
Junk. That's the end of what we had, unless someone else has something else or drastically disagrees with me. You wanna take a stab at another chunk?
Sure. So the next section's windows, and we have some preferences on windows, and I was wondering if you were gonna try to take a stab at.
Why don't we
Putting it
try to
in here.
get through 2-42? That's 20, a little less than, that's 20 pages or 19 pages. For next time,
Okay, sure.
just so we can try to get this thing done by the end of the
When we go to windows, I'm curious if you can translate your window preferences into some of the text.
year.
You know, the Marvin, the styles you like and the divided light and that kind of stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
it doesn't really, it doesn't say stuff like that in here. And if I were a homeowner, I'd find it useful to say, all right, this
Yeah.
kind's good.
Yeah, we actually have a few minutes. I'll give you my take on it, just if we're gonna talk about it.
Before you do that, excuse me, can you just give me the last pages so I can mark it in my copy?
2-42. Hey, we're doing the rewrite, but we started, or you can stay, but we started at 7.
You're welcome to come in, but
You
the
can sit
meeting
in here.
doesn't start, right?
42.
Um. 2-42, yes, that's, okay.
Yep, no, I just wanted to mark it so I know where to stop.
If we do that, then we're through the majority of the stuff and then by the end of it, you know. So do we want to set it for the next hearing?
Yeah.
Which is what?
Well, next meeting,
I'm just looking right now. That'll be 3 weeks because we lose the 7th of November.
I was gonna say, that was my question, November 7th, are we not meeting that day?
Is that election day?
Yeah,
I don't
Says
think-
we have a meeting. But I
Do
don't.
we
I
have
think
a meeting
because it's not
it's scheduled because it's the first
Hmm?
Tuesday.
I think because it's not federal, but do you not want to do it then because you're gonna be doing stuff?
I just won't be able to attend, so.
Well, that's good. Then we can get something accomplished.
Why don't we do this?
I'm just asking so I can plan.
Let's do it on the. What day is Thanksgiving this year?
Thursday.
The what? The 23rd or the 30th? 23rd?
23rd,
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do it for the 21st?
okay, that'd be like that.
So you can
Yeah.
do your stuff on election day. And then that'll
Thank
give us 2 more meetings to just wrap up the end. Which would only be. Would only be another 14 pages.
Oh, that's nothing. We can do that in 2 meetings,
And would you say the 20th?
21st,
21st.
thank you.
Sorry.
Somebody put that in a motion, what you're gonna, the date and what you're gonna cover,
Okay,
just
I'll make a
so it's
motion for-
recorded and it's clear
Sure.
for.
I'll make a
Susan.
motion for another special meeting on the 21st of November, to cover pages 2-23 through 2-42. The handbook rewrite.
I will second that
at
motion.
6 AM, right? I mean,
6
6
PM.
PM, excuse me, 6 PM.
You wait for us, okay?
So made and seconded,
Yeah,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keatsman, I.
So we'll meet then. Just to go back to your window piece. So I read ahead a little bit, but I only skimmed it.
Right?
So they were really encouraging reglazing and reuse of existing wood windows.
Yeah,
The problem in restoring a lot of these older homes down there that I found is that a lot of them truly are beyond repair.
Right,
And even if they were repaired, the energy efficiency of them is so low,
right,
even with storm windows. Because particularly with the weighted windows, the storm window goes to the inside of the trim, but the trim then covers a huge gap, which can't be filled between the framing and the casing of the window, or the window jam, because of the weights. So that gets really drafty in there.
right.
Well, yeah,
right.
because a weighted window is rattling between the stops.
Yeah, yeah,
So as much as I have on Elm Street reglazed like 90 windows, and it was so
Yikes.
enjoyable. Yeah, my hand was like at the end, I like couldn't move it. I think we should still encourage people to restore them if they want to. If they don't, I think personally, from seeing a lot of products, we should encourage the use of simulated divided lights where the mutton is on the inside and generally the outside of the glass.
right,
And a lot of them should have a like
Little spacer inside.
spacer bar in the middle, so it looks like a divided light.
right,
You'd have to get really close, and even if you did get close, you'd have to really think about it and
Mhm.
realize the difference. But I think also primarily on the finish, the Marvin Elevate and the Anderson 400, as well as the Marvin Ultimate and the Anderson Anderson A series, are a Fibrex or an aluminum window
mhm,
with a paint on it,
mhm.
and that is a relatively low luster window sash and frame that doesn't have the same look of like a vinyl window. So what I
Right.
guess I'm getting at is I think that replacement vinyl windows and new construction vinyl windows don't have a place in the historic district because they look like plastic
Okay,
and they generally can't be or are not painted. So
right, right.
you get that inappropriate look.
Mhm, mhm.
But you do have vinyl wrapped wood windows too.
There's not many.
Some of them are
vinyl
aluminum, some of them are,
wrapped.
there are some though, aren't
They're
there?
Fibrex or Ultrex or they're fiberglass. They're not. I don't think you can. I've never seen a vinyl wrapped wood. I've seen Ultrex wrapped.
Yeah, I'm not sure if some of the like Anderson's lower lines, if they still use like a PVC wood wrap on some of their frames, but you're right, in all of the windows that you're speaking about, they're all either a Fibrex or some kind of a fiberglass composite.
Or aluminum if you
Or
get
if you start getting into stuff like Eagle or something like that, yeah, it's all painted aluminum.
right.
Right.
I think if we're trying to discourage the vinyl sheen across the board, vinyl fences, vinyl whatever, we should really be discouraging. Vinyl
Well, also on a
windows.
regular vinyl window, it tends to be a bulkier
Yeah,
frame for strength reasons.
bulkier, the caulking is a lot of times heavier, like it's. I mean, if you put a Marvin, just we install a lot of Marvins, if you put a Marvin window next to an old wood window, you've got to pay attention,
Yeah, right.
you know.
I don't think you're gonna find an all vinyl window that could ever be made to look like a true divided light or simulated divided light that is actual like that.
I think we also should be discouraging grills between the glass, even though the historic district has approved them on a few occasions. That's where the mutton is just a plastic insert between the two panes of glass. So when you could imagine you could wash the exterior of the window in one look. But
Yeah,
the window looks like it's got 6 lights, 3 lights, 2 lights.
Yeah.
whatever.
and that's good or bad?
That's
I think
typically
it's bad.
bad,
Yeah. I agree.
because you can pick that up
Yeah,
from a distance.
it just
Right,
it
right.
doesn't look great because you look at the window. There's one house over on Water Street that they allowed it across from the Marina. And they redid that, the tan house with the 2 dormers on the top.
Oh, the one that they really
10
tore
years ago.
apart, yeah, about 10
Yeah.
years ago. So you got those windows in there?
Somehow you got them in, but you look at it and like you see the reflection in the glass, but then you don't. It doesn't.
I think the true divided lights or even appropriately simulated divided lights give a window a depth
Yeah.
That a vinyl window, just, it can't mimic. And I
Right.
think that's probably what you're looking at, it's the depth. Of the glass versus the trim, where pretty much any vinyl window you look at, it's like almost like a flat profile almost.
Yeah. What's, there's ones where you can clean the whole window, that they're little push pins or something, right? They,
So
Well, you
take
can
out the
pop the
grill.
grills out.
that's the old.
then if they don't put it back and stuff, it has a whole different.
Well, they
look.
break anyway.
Yeah, so,
So that's like the 1990 early,
Yeah.
early to mid nineties, probably eighties too, like where the grill was actually on the inside. You're right, there's a little pin.
right,
Snap
right.
pins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You tell people
That's
that
what-
if you wanted to use snap pins, they're gonna.
yeah. Mine were done within 6 months of
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
They
did.
didn't work anymore?
No, they did
You
broke.
shut the window and the thing
Falls
falls off,
off.
smashes over
Right,
around.
Yeah.
right.
I tell you though, if you live down by the ocean, like where Lynn's house is. She's got all Marvin windows in her house. Some big, awning windows and stuff. And it was all marine stainless. And 10 years later. Completely rusted.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Windows, you go to close the window and it doesn't, and you try to pull the pins down to lock it,
Yeah.
and it's just a mess.
Oh.
Whereas her brother's house, which is next door, is all vinyl windows. They work perfectly well, work as well as the day they went in. So I mean, there are some, when you're down by the salt sea air and it's blowing in,
Yeah.
I just spent $9,000 on my Jeep rebuilding the whole frame.
I drove down River Road and the water was across the road and someone drove through it in front of me and I was like, nope, turn right around.
Yeah.
Turn back The other way.
Or go to the car wash with the underwash
Yeah.
3 times.
I think what we should be just encouraging with products in general is you look at it and it doesn't look like the house, the building,
Correct.
whatever was,
Consistent.
yeah, it was just like ripped apart and redone
Yeah.
or modernized via product. Like, I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
And so what is, this is just moving a little bit further. What about things like shutters? Someone was doing shutters recently, right? And they were actually gonna rehang them and
back
hinge
on.
them and whatever.
Yeah.
Southern,
Last meeting.
Southern Shutter Company and American Shutter Company make either a composite or a true cedar shutter. It's very hard to get them where the things actually work anymore, like John had asked.
Yeah.
You can get it, but they cost a fortune. I mean, thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I had them made for that little micro apartment. And
It's crazy.
they were
Yeah.
expensive.
The Southern Shutter ones that are cedar and they're painted are about $500-600 a set, which is a lot compared to like a vinyl one you get.
Yeah.
But at least those, if you hinge them, or even if you just screw them to the building, they look appropriate.
As long as people know what size to make them.
Yeah.
Look at the Whalers
Right,
Inn,
right, right.
the Whalers Inn, they took all that stucco off and they redid all the siding. And they put those damn shutters back up and the shutters are too big. In other words, they extend from the top of the trim on the top to the bottom of the sill. A shutter is supposed to be just the size of the window.
It's supposed to- yeah,
And and that guy's got more money than Croesus and he still put those old shutters back up there. It drives me nuts. Take a look at it next time you drive by.
I think we should strongly discourage the use of like vinyl shutters, meaning the ones that are just like extruded,
Right, right.
in one piece.
Well, the shutter's supposed to be, 2 sides supposed to be the size of the window.
Yeah.
And that's honored in the breach for the most part. But in those old houses, when they built them, if they couldn't get the one shutter to, to sit against the side of the house, and they just let it
Yeah, they.
just
they-
sit, just sit.
Skew.
What if it hit the sidewall return or something?
Yeah.
But people use their shutters, I think, in those days.
Hey, people.
Hello,
How are you?
good,
How's it going?
good.
So as a Groton resident, I'm trying to find the agenda for the historic district commission.
It's just, it's a,
Oh,
and
it's the early meeting over.
and
Are we
we're-
paying
are we
extra-
adjourned?
We've already adjourned.
Yeah. Motion
Motion
to,
close?
motion
I make
to
a motion
adjourn,
adjourn the special meeting.
Adjourned
adjourned.
at 7. Sorry. Call this meeting of the Historic District Commission to order at 7:02 PM, and I will seek Goodrich and Keatsman as full members. Todd, would you read the call?
Town of Groton notice of public hearing, Historic District Commission. The Historic District Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 17, 2023 at 7 PM at the Groton Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, and virtually via the Zoom platform to hear the following applications requesting a certificate of appropriateness. HTC 23-0025 20 Pearl Street, John McCarrick, owner, applicant, garage renovation, second floor addition, PIN number 2619184105882. HCC 23-0026 20 High Street, Adrian Brett Barnes, owner, applicant, propane tank installation, PIN number 2618063933897. HCC 23-0027 14 Bank Street, Ryan Robtoy, owner, applicant, roof replacement, PIN number 2619183163551. ACC 23-0028 56 West Main Street, Stephen Nusopoulos, applicant, Fotini Zalepos, owner, siding replacement, PIN number 2619183066972. A Zoom meeting link will be posted to the town's website meetings calendar. Applications are on file and available for public inspection during normal business hours at the Planning Department, 134 Groton Long Point Road, Groton, Connecticut, dated this 10th day of October 2023 at Groton, Connecticut. Todd Brady, Secretary.
Thank you. I will waive the hearing procedures. If anyone would like to read them, they're over there on the yellow sheets. And we will open right up with the HTC 23-00037 Water Street. On up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So, that microphone on over there? I can't tell.
Hello?
Is that on?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can, anything you're gonna present, if you can rotate it so the commission can have the commission's view?
No, that's, no,
Yeah,
you
right
you
the
had it
first time.
right.
Yeah.
The other ones, I think, are upside down, aren't they? Yeah. I was looking at it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you might want to get the
Introduce
microphone a
yourself.
little bit closer to you.
Introduce yourself.
Start off with your name.
And
Start off with
introduce
your name.
yourself and
Tim Owen, owner of 7 Water Street. And we're, have an application in for doing awnings around the building and a curtain. Some curtains on the back. Which will be clear. And this is the example of the awnings. This is. These are the awnings.
Hold on one second.
Oh, yeah.
I'll try to figure it out.
Bill, maybe we can share.
You can ask Sue if she can hear you.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll work better.
Yeah. All right, just put it back in here.
Just give that a second.
Oh, I was gonna try to make.
Sure.
Hello?
There
there you go.
Now we're in business.
Maybe you should start over.
And I'm Tim Owens, owner of 7 Water Street, and I'm representing or continuing presentation of what the board asked me for, which was pictures photoshopped onto the building and materials of what the awnings would be made of. And this is the back of the building with the
Slide that
With-
one towards me. There you go.
with the shade coming down, you didn't really have anything great because it's clear. It's just a clear shade. This is on the side, on the front. Oops, missing one. And this is on the back.
Just slide that
Move 'em
toward-
down a little bit there.
Yeah, I zoomed it out a little bit, so
Yeah,
the pictures can be seen a little bit. If you, talking about any particular picture, you can just move it so it's in the frame. There you go.
So, just so I understand, on the first one on the bottom left there, that shows the awning that goes across the face of the porch, correct?
Yes.
And then is there an awning on the one above that too? And then I don't
Yes.
quite understand what I'm looking at.
But the one above it is the back of the building, the one below is the front of the building. And that's the side of the building.
But where's, on the one above there, I don't exactly understand where the
show-
awning is.
With your finger, show us the
Yeah,
awning.
show us where the awning is.
And this one,
No, yes,
this one,
up one.
right across
That's the
here,
awning there, okay.
Yeah,
And then
go-
on
go
the one
back.
above, the one above that,
across here
all right, and so that black shadow right there is,
is what the screen would be.
I'm gonna slide that down just a little bit, so maybe they can see it. Up on one, maybe.
so that's the
Leave the
screen that's
awnings up
blacked
pretty
out so
high.
you can see that it's the screen, but in fact, the
Yeah.
screen is clear.
It's just clear. There's no way to put it on a computer to show it clear.
And it goes all the way down to the
It goes
bottom.
all the way down.
Okay.
Do you have any of the hardware though, or tracks or anything, samples, drawings?
I don't have, I gave you the specs on it that had the aluminum, last time. And I don't have.
Is that for the
specific-
awning or for the shade?
For the
drawings?
awning,
Okay.
has a galvanized steel. And that all the material was, fire retardant.
Are they retractable or fixed?
They're retractable.
Questions or comments?
And and I know I asked this last time, was how far out do they go? Again,
42 inches.
they go out vertically, I mean horizontally.
They cover 42 inches out. They might come out a little more in the slant, but
Right.
they're coming out about 42 inches.
So will probably come out less because 42 inches would be,
Well, they'll come out 42 inches. It might be more in the actual
Oh.
material might be.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
46 inches or 48
gotcha,
inches. or
because
something.
now I understand. And does that cover the sidewalk? Like, that was my only,
No, it doesn't go over the side.
okay. My only concern.
The front awning doesn't go over the sidewalk
No,
because the front of your building is right on the sidewalk. So how does it go out 42 inches and not go over the sidewalk?
it goes, it covers it just covers right to the sidewalk. It's not right on the sidewalk, actually. It's a little bit, it's about 42 inches or something like that away from, it covers the whole staircase going up and that's right, that goes right to the sidewalk.
And the clear, that dark shadow that comes
Yes.
halfway down, that goes all the way to the
That goes all the
floor,
way
and
down,
it goes all the way across.
It goes both sides. It'll
Yeah.
cover both sides. That's not in the front.
And
And that's new to this application tonight, correct?
No,
So-
that was in the last application.
and that also is retractable.
That
it
is
said
also,
ropes and
yes, yes.
It said
yes.
ropes and
Yeah, it
pulleys.
goes up behind the building.
Any other comments, questions?
For me.
Do you have anything else?
No, the only, not that we have can I just see the?
Sure.
Tim, we're going blue, or what color? Not that we have
I
yours.
think the navy blue,
Oh,
We do.
so this one,
either regatta or the navy, but.
Okay.
Probably.
oh, we do have jurisdiction over color.
Okay, and can I see the file? Do we have all the equipment for the shade, all the retractable parts from the last?
No,
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I'm good. Thank you though.
Are those photographs there, were they submitted already?
No, they haven't been submitted.
They need,
we'll take them.
Yeah, you have to give them to me.
And can I, we also,
Is that the
we're
file?
considering doing it in red. Can I submit both?
Your color.
Yeah, pick one color.
You got it. We have to tell us.
Yeah, but I can't submit two colors, then you can approve two colors and
No,
choose.
we can approve one color.
There's it.
That's the regatta.
This is the navy blue.
that's a need.
Is that, so was that the color samples there?
These are the other
No,
color.
no.
Oh, yeah, this right here.
So is. Okay, let me hear that.
I think I'm supposed to give that back. Not sure.
You just mark it Admiral Navy.
All right, so it's Admiral Navy.
You good? Anything else?
No.
Anyone in the audience have anything to say in support of the application? Anyone against the application? HDC 23-0003 is closed. HDC 23-0019, 14 Bank Street. Mr. Robtoy,
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Oh, that's McCarrick who's on the phone. Is Mr. Rob Toy here?
It's gonna be, if it's for the roof, he's gonna be on time for the roofer. Who is it? Yeah, I should promote. He's the one, JM.
are you here for the windows?
He's
Got two.
garage renovation.
Oh, no.
We're looking for Ryan Robtoy or a representative.
Or the address is Bank Street.
No.
So it looks like it's Dan.
So
Sorry.
we're looking for 14 Bank Street.
Who are you?
I'm his father, I'm Ryan's father.
Okay.
He was on here last time. I'm Phil Rockwood.
Are you going to present?
No, not at all.
So we're just
Do,
waiting. He's not
do you
yet
want to
showing
call
up.
him or text him and
Alright,
say,
we'll,
we'll put him later?
Yep, let's
Oh.
just move on, and we'll come back to it. You're right. I'm sorry.
No,
No,
I-
you're
I-
fine.
I
You,
should-
you were, we were saying the same thing at the same time. HTC 23-0025 20 Pearl Street, John McCarrick.
He is.
Here.
He is on.
I'm sorry, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. I'm John McCarrick. At 20 Pearl Street.
Okay, so John, why don't you go ahead and describe what it is you're,
Yeah, well,
Applying
we
to
have an existing small garage on the back of the property. I know you have a photo of it. And what we'd like to do is expand it to actually work as a serviceable garage. And additionally, put a second story on it to work, be used as my wife's quilt studio.
So I do see in the submissions a set of architectural drawings showing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first rendition of what we would like it to look like.
Right, do you have any specifications on the windows and doors, siding,
Well,
trim?
You know, I'm gonna do the same thing as we did on the house itself. I was before the commission, I think, 2 years ago, and we did the Burrell lap siding and the Marvin Elevate windows.
Is that noted anywhere in your application?
But the
I've given
Marvin-
you the specs for it down below, I know. Same thing that I gave when I had to meet with you before for the house. Because I wanted to be compatible with the house itself, so I want to use the same material.
this was in.
Yeah, I don't see
a drawing.
we get the drawings earlier on.
Yeah.
So I don't per se have any issues with the design. We would need the window sizes.
Okay.
We
So
would need,
from that design, when I went to the architect to make these plans, I don't think we came up with the actual sizes. I just wanted to make sure that we had an overall kind of approval to go ahead to look into more specifics on it.
unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It's the opposite. So you'd have to come back to us with the specifics, including a list of materials, sizes of the windows, specs on the windows, grill patterns, specs on the garage door. Kind of some significantly more detail than what you have.
Right.
If you can come back with that. Does anyone have any opinions?
No, I'm just not seeing a list of materials.
Yeah, I think if you could come back with that, that's something that we could vote on.
Okay, well, I thought I guess having the Marvin Elevate, I mean, that's what we did on the house itself. And I would keep that same pattern on the side.
Right, we just need that in like a written format.
Okay.
So,
Right.
when you show that,
Back size of the windows going in.
yeah, when you show that triple window on the rear, is it 6 feet wide by 3 feet tall? That type of detail.
All right, super.
So, if you'd like, I'll make a motion to continue and you could get that information and come back in 3 weeks.
All right, perfect. I think we can get it by that time.
Okay, sorry about that, but thank you.
All right, thank you.
So I'll make a motion to continue HTC 23-0025.
I second the motion, Brady.
All in favor?
Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keatsman, I.
Okay, HTC 23-0025 is continued.
So is this in fact the application? No,
This one looks like it.
but there's like no description. It's not
I know.
mention of what they're doing.
No, that was gonna be a comment later.
Okay,
Because I don't. It creates a whole set of problems.
yeah.
Um,
Dan,
here for Ryan Robbie.
Yeah.
Hello? Yep. So.
Oh, okay.
I apologize for not getting sound prior.
Are you just here for the roof?
Yeah, for the roof for Rob Toy.
Okay, so then I'll call HTC 23-0027 14 Bank Street. This is just the roof application.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just a straight roof replacement. Currently he's got a combination of 3-tab shingles and as well as architectural shingles on there. We would strip everything down to the plywood, install the proper underlayments, ice and water barrier, and install a pewter gray colored shingle, architectural asphalt. Also, there's 2 skylights that are going to be replaced as well on the back side of the house.
Are the skylights visible from a public way,
No,
from the street down below or anything like that?
no, the way that his backyard just like drops right off and I can't even see the street behind.
Okay, so if they're not visible, then
They're existing skylights, you said?
Yeah, they're really, really old existing skylights that we're just going to replace because they're going to leak if we don't.
we don't, I mean, we don't care if they're existing or new or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
If they're not visible, they're not visible.
Yeah, but if, also you can replace them, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
replacing.
Yeah.
It's maintenance.
Well,
Is it
no.
or not,
No,
like for like?
it'd have to be like dead on, like,
Yeah,
But you're not-
just talking.
no, you're right, but you're not gonna find that.
Right.
Right.
So. Okay, so you're just changing the 3-tab to a architectural and the rest of the components we're not concerned with.
Correct.
So,
Is,
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what those drawings are.
All right, does anyone else have any comments?
It's
or
from the Triton
questions?
Square Development guys.
Okay. It's not, maybe go that back then. So keep it.
Yeah, so from Triton Square.
Yeah, what the hell?
Any other comments or?
Does it,
Okay,
Is
here's
this,
all the stuff.
does this count as list of materials?
This thing,
It shows right there, the
This,
architectural and computer grade, that's sufficient.
that's sufficient,
to
okay,
be-
okay. I just wanted to make sure that was amenable to everybody, because
Dan, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, it's a pretty standard project. I mean, if you guys need anything else information wise, just, I can give you whatever you need.
Nope, I think we're good.
we're good.
Anyone in the audience have anything to say in support of the application? Anyone against the application? All right, HTC 23-0027 is closed. I'll come back to the window piece until he comes on.
He's
He's
on.
there. Looks like Rob Toy Windows is up there.
Rob Toy Windows is on.
Oh,
Dale or Dan?
It's Dale, it's the one that's where it says Rob Windows, that's.
Oh, okay.
Hi, this is Dale.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm here for the windows.
Okay.
okay, so HTC 23-0019 14 Bank Street, this is the window replacement piece. Can you just give us your name and address and what you're here for?
Dale Voiles, I'm with Henderson Roofing, and we are going to be doing window replacements at the 14 Bank Street house. Or looking to do that. I believe he presented earlier the specs for the windows, the count of windows. You probably don't have measurements of those windows.
And I think we also asked them to provide which windows are being replaced on a photograph. I don't know if that's in there.
I also would just add in that we had a fairly lengthy discussion during our special meeting prior to this, where we're working on a rewrite of the rules. And it's vinyl windows are fairly discouraged, are highly discouraged, I would say. So
Understood.
we were discussing like a Marvin Elevate, Marvin Ultimate, Anderson 400, Anderson A series, other companies that produce Fibrex, Ultrex, or other non-vinyl products. So Does anyone else have any comments about that?
I mean, these are vinyl windows, correct?
And they are, and that's just kind of the clarification that I was trying to get out of this as well as what the commission is looking for. So that's perfect information for me.
I mean, we can continue this if you would like to go back to them, but we would need the windows, the window sizes and elevations or just pictures showing specifically which windows you are planning on replacing. And if you want to come back with the vinyl windows, you can. Like, I mean, we can't tell you no, but we can vote no.
Correct. Yeah, understood. Okay, I would like to continue it so that we can pursue it.
As far as replacing the windows, though, we don't have an issue with that part of it. Correct.
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 Are there any specifications regarding matching the current grid pattern? Anything of that sort?
Yeah, typically grid patterns are matched by applicants. Sometimes there's some deviation. If there are multiple grid patterns and different kinds of windows in a house, then we may make a decision one way or the other. But we basically encourage you to do the grid patterns that are already there. It looks like a lot of 1/1s. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, I believe so. There might be a few oddities in the back side of the house.
Were those original, do you know?
I believe that the current windows are original, aside from a few that looks like they were, there might be a vinyl window here or there that was put in at some point in the distant past.
So we just generally discourage reduction in the amount of panes. So like if it was a 6/6 going to a 1/1, but if it was a 1/1 and you want to keep it 1/1, but that's your choice. If you wanted to add grills for look, I mean, we would consider it.
Is there a preference for SDL grid versus GBG?
Yeah, that was also part of the conversation earlier that we have not approved as this board, grills between the glass on any project.
Okay, thank you.
And so what you really want to have photographs of each side of the house and then identify the windows that are being replaced and their sizes.
So if it's all right with you, I'll make a motion to continue.
Goodrich, second. Oh,
He hasn't said yes.
sorry.
You're fine with the continuance?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
just be detailed, be detailed, be detailed.
Goodman made the motion, Goodrich seconded, all in favor.
Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keithman, I.
Jump the gun.
I got
All
excited.
right,
Got picture.
HTC 23-0026 20 High Street. This is for a propane tank installation. Come on up. Yeah.
I'm Adria Barnes, 20 High Street. Application is for a propane tank. And there was some coordination with the town and our gas installation company as to the site of the tank. Due to the amount of windows and our lots proximity, the spot in the front was the best location for the tank. And which is what the application reflects. I don't know if you need to see, you have pictures already on. the
Well,
app-
you can put those and they'll come up on the screen there, Adria. You'll have to reorient them though, so they're right side up.
Do you have anything just showing where the tank's gonna
Yeah,
go?
that's what I was just gonna say.
they're on-
I see your GIS plan, but not.
So I
Part.
guess I was part of the new system in July application to upload stuff, which I wasn't really that good at. But the pictures are on the application as far as the front of the house. I don't know, was I supposed to bring those as well? Not sure, but.
You should have those, right, Dan?
I'll do
What?
this.
Sorry,
Start with
trying to
this
get
one.
the screen up.
Oh, do you want me to wait?
Trying to figure it out.
It's in the front of the house and we have a retaining wall that runs along the driveway. The inside of our driveway, which needs to be repaired anyway. So when they picked the location for the propane tank, it made sense to rework the existing retaining wall, which is 54 inches high, which was kind of a good thing because the tank itself is 54.5 inches high. So our thought was to rework the wall and recess it so the tank can be recessed into the wall, which is less impact from the view line of the street.
And the town asked for it to be put there for safety reasons, I'm assuming.
Yes, they walked around the perimeter of the house, and that was really the only spot that met all the criteria.
Because you can't locate it underneath a window that can be open, that kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's for our fireplace. So, with the proximity and all of that, that's where they cited it. So we worked with them. And I said, well, we can rework the retaining wall, recess it back so the tank is into a wall, and which is less impact from the street. This will help you, but what I did is for the wall, I thought it was most important to see the height of the stone wall itself, the retaining wall, because it is 54.5, the tank is 54.5. So the tank itself, the top of it won't even be visible above this retaining wall if it's recessed into it.
When you say recessed into it, Adrian, I mean, how wide is the wall now?
Well, it's a retaining wall that goes because we are at the lower part of High Street, so the elevation changes really quick in front of our house. Yes, that's
Is
it.
this where it would go?
Yes, and that shows the beginning of the wall. There's a gap between our house and the retaining wall because it's the
Like
original
in
retaining
here?
wall. Where you're pointing to is ivy, but yes, that's the wall. That's where the wall ends.
Can you show it on the screen?
Sure.
And if I may ask, while you're showing us, you said recess, is the new wall going to be built like concave around the tank, or is it going to be straight?
Yeah, it would be a rectangle concave and the.
I'm just having a hard time understanding just where it's gonna go.
There is a retaining wall that runs along behind this vehicle and it ends here. And there's a gap between the retaining wall and the house.
So where that ivy is.
Idea
It's
is it's a
like
gap,
in
and that's
there.
where our garbage cans always went. And in that gap is a bluestone pad. And what we were looking to do is to take the end of this retaining wall and bring it back and create a square area where the tank can recess into back from the driveway, so it makes it less visible from the street. As far as where it's visible from the street, you have to go down to the next property and look in a small window to be able to pick up the tank. But it's recessed back in the wall. We would, obviously go to the expense of redoing the wall to create a little closet for it, if you will, for this tank to sit in. The tank footprint, I think, is like 3.5 feet. Bluestone or concrete footing is what they call for the proper installation of a tank. So we would be able to do that. And the impact, I feel, would be pretty minimal.
And the tank's basically the height of the retaining wall. So you're not gonna really see it.
Right, because the tank is 120-pound propane tank is 54.5 inches high. And the wall itself, which I thought this was helpful. This shows that the top of the existing wall as it is before we repair it is 54 inches. So the height of the wall won't change. It'll just be cleaned up as we
And is the piece of bluestone you're gonna stick it on, or is it already there?
No,
So maybe you might want to think about
Digging down.
dropping it down a little bit.
we'll go the same
you
grade
can.
as the driveway. So, and when we dig out to create this closet of the stone wall, we would put down the proper base for the propane for installation. That's dictated.
Yeah, I was just suggesting that. Yeah, thanks, Brett. Yeah, in other words, just if it's 54.5, I mean, it might be nice to drop it down a couple inches so you don't.
We're talking the cap is barely a shadow line, and from the street, because it is an incline of a street.
I think it's totally reasonable. If they're gonna go to
I
the
was gonna say,
expense.
so I went through the same thing at my house. You guys are
Yeah.
doing a lot better job than I did, and I'm the big screening guy, so I don't personally see a problem with it.
Yeah, no,
I think
I
it's
If you're gonna make
well
the
thought out.
space, fix it. And
I mean, I don't want
Yeah.
to look at it
Yeah.
personally, so
Right.
I'm the worst critic. The
Yeah.
rest of, people that are walking by probably wouldn't notice it.
And
but,
it's driveway in front of the closet, so to speak, in front of the used driveway.
I have two garages, so this is to the left of garage number one. So it is actually not in front of the garage, it's to the left of the garage. So it's even recessed more from a straight shot on our house.
does anyone have other comments, questions?
The red door is your garage door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes, sorry.
Right.
That's the left garage. We have
Right,
two garage
And
doors.
then to the left of that red is where the closet's gonna be.
Correct.
Just,
Yeah, and if anyone walked by, they would normally see
Yeah,
garage,
no.
two garage pants there on that stone pad, but if we create this little closet, the propane tank would be behind the, garbage cans.
Thank you.
Are those measurement drawings here in your submittal from earlier or no?
These were not.
Okay, you'll give me those, Adrian, I'll stamp them. And the rest of them are in.
Everything else is in there,
Like
yeah.
this one's
I
there.
brought extra pictures of
Yeah.
this crazy propane tanks in our immediate block, but I don't even think we need to go into that.
We don't want to see those.
No, I don't either.
Any other
Yeah, it
comments?
doesn't, it doesn't matter. I'm curious. You're going from a wood burning fireplace to a gas fireplace? Is that the
I
idea?
am, we currently have a wood stove, which
Okay.
we had a permit for a couple of years ago. And we love that, but we're getting old and I don't want to do any wood anymore.
All right. No, thank you.
So,
Just curious.
Anything else?
no,
All right, anyone in the audience have anything to say in support of the application? Anyone against the application? Okay, HTC 23-0026 is closed.
thank you,
We'll
gentlemen.
vote in a few.
Thank you.
HTC 23-0028 56 West Main Street. Right. Could you pronounce your name so I don't mistake it?
That's what it is, but my wife says new shop. New shopping. New shopping.
Okay.
New Shapolos. New Shapolos. And Stefan, right? Stefan New Shapolos. Oh, Stefan. Okay. Excuse me.
Okay. What would you like to do?
Again, for the record, my name is Stefan Mishopoulos. I'm the architect working with the Zalepos family on the Mystic Pizza. I was before you almost approximately a year ago. We got approval for the deck and replacing the windows on the second floor from to a folding window. And we got those approvals. We finished the deck, but we didn't start the windows yet for two reasons. One, supply line, we couldn't get them on time because the special windows, folding windows. And we didn't want to work during the busy season in front of the restaurant. And the other part was we couldn't get the material for the siding to match the existing siding color. So we decided to hold off on that and do it on the slow season, which is coming up basically, hopefully soon. Not hopefully, but soon. So we decided, since we can't really match the siding, to go ahead and change the siding for the whole building. And what we used on the deck was a hardy plank. And we want to do the same thing throughout the building. It's a much more durable material than the vinyl siding that's there now. And as part of that, we're also planning to change two windows. One window is at the top of the. Trying to replace this window, which is presently existing, to a half moon window. And when we do the siding, we want to go to the original. Before this house, before it was with the vinyl siding, it seems like it was a brick revival home. And they destroyed all the details when they did the vinyl siding. We're trying to bring them back. I introduced the Doric columns again on the edge of the building. And basically trying to, do the whole building all around with the same finish.
So what you couldn't match the vinyl siding that was on the building.
Correct.
That's everyone's good fortune, huh?
Thank God. Well, then John, I convinced John to do the whole building otherwise, and since we said we're gonna change it, I said, let's not go vinyl this time. So we introduced this product, and he loved it. We used it on the deck. It's very durable. It looks like wood. You can't really damage it unless you really want to damage it. So he decided to do the whole building with that. I did bring a sample if anybody wants to see it. It's the same color as this. It comes pre-finished. The corners will be AZAC, which is again durable material. So the corners and all the trim will be white AZAC, and the rest of the building will be the Pack.
You're
Is
gonna
it-
paint.
I'm sorry. What about the gable end? Is you gonna change the siding on the gable end?
The whole building is part of it. All this, we're changing the whole thing.
So it's all gonna be, it's all gonna be clapboard, basically.
It looks like on your drawing, though, it's like a nickel gap shiplap on the top. In the peak.
Oh, the top part is a white board. We're using the 8-inch at the top and the 4-inch on the bottom half.
Okay, so
Uh,
clapboard on the top.
But still clapboard?
It's still the same material.
And is that what's up there now?
No, right?
Or
now
is it just stacked flush like a Greek revival gable?
This is the existing there now. This is what it is.
Oh, it does.
Yes, and I also brought pictures. You want to see the pictures?
I just have one other question. The PVC, you're gonna paint all that white?
No. The inside is white already. We're gonna maintain that color. And like I said, we used it already on the deck, so you can easily see it on the deck that we used.
I just think you should paint it.
Paint it white?
Yeah.
That would make sense. We have to do it every year. You're not gonna change the look of it if I paint it, but if it's something we wish to do, we'll do it.
From experience, I think it does look significantly better when it's got a coat of paint on it. When it's not painted and you use like the hidden fasteners, those little things have a tendency to just be visible.
It's not a big deal. We can paint
Okay.
it.
I think it'll look better painted.
And my
I
only
agree.
other comment, thank you, would be that the half round window, we do need the specifications on the window. But I personally wouldn't have a problem voting on it, subject to the specifications being
Being submitted
submitted
at a later
later.
date.
Because it's,
I should have brought the actual number to show it's an Anderson 400 series. I don't have the exact number to go with me. I should have probably apologize for that.
okay. I think otherwise it's a significant.
It's like a big improvement.
Significant
Huge
improvement.
upgrade.
I think so too, but it took some time convincing him to do the whole building with it, so it's kind of expensive project, but.
I also think, although I know it wasn't a unanimous vote, I like your outdoor patio on the second floor.
I was gonna.
I think the building looks a heck of a lot better than it looked before, because it was kind of a weird
Well,
design.
the other building had a flat roof originally. They put that half.
Yeah, that happened, which looked pretty awful.
And you can see the old parapet that was there. We continued that old parapet coming around and I think it dressed up. nicely.
Yeah, it did.
Really defined it.
I was gonna, at the end of your presentation, I was gonna say, you convinced me because I was not a huge fan of the concepts going in, but the final product turned out amazing.
Yeah,
So
I'm happy with it too. The views also are spectacular. And actually, I like the views better looking west up the street rather than down Main Street for some reason. Then the park really adds a lot to the ambience of that deck.
Yeah,
And I wasn't a fan of the deck, but I think what you do in the rest of the building makes up for it, so it's a good trade-off.
Agreed. So if you're okay with it, I'd be fine moving forward with just under the two conditions that you paint the AZAC and that you provide us the window specs at some point.
That is not a problem. The other thing, keep in mind, we are replacing 2 more windows. One is the side window.
The two highlighted that you have.
Sure. I'm looking for it, not on the final, right?
Yep.
The side, one is the side window.
you want,
You gotta move it over a little bit.
So you're just reducing the visible glass.
Well, the problem is presently there's hardly anything there. It's
Yep.
only like a 4.5 inch,
Mhm.
and to be able to turn the door column around. we need to get. some
You gotta pull it
space.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason, so we can bring the details around, because that's a visible corner. We want to make sure the corner looks properly. And the other two windows are the existing glass panels again in the to-go area. We're gonna do those folding windows to match the ones approved already on the other level. So those are basically
The ones that you haven't put in yet.
How do they
the ones
match?
that we haven't put in yet, correct.
How do they match?
The style is the same. Obviously, these are a little larger.
Yeah, that's what-
Same glass opening. The only
Remind
reason,
me, they, from the outside though, they folded up.
that is correct, yes. And
Okay.
So instead of being double hung, they like hinged.
Okay,
It's kinda-
And they'll match the ones that are on the second floor
that is
Okay.
correct.
in style and, yeah.
The only way would be smaller in any way, depending what we find structurally wise when we take it out, if we try to provide a different header or something. But other than that, we're keeping the same opening, same glass, same everything.
So is all of that in this?
No, we
No.
can make it,
Some of the drawings to them.
but everything's here. We'll just have to make a condition upon the approval of the windows.
Okay, but there's nothing I have to take from,
I did bring full scale drawings if you need them,
It's okay.
but you do have any PDF.
yeah, okay.
I think it did a nice job.
So we should put that on here.
is the list of materials? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's all in the details here.
Oh,
It's really just hardening, you can see.
okay, so it's in that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking for,
trim to be painted? Right?
yes,
other thing
And just
the specs
Yeah,
on
so
the
that's
moon-
better,
yeah, moon window.
just because we had the conversation earlier, but simulated divided light, not grills between the glass.
No, we don't, there's none there now, so we're not introducing. it.
No, on the half round.
Not in the inside glass, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
No, I don't think Anderson does it that way the 400 series.
I don't think so. Just to be sure.
Okay, so you will submit that spec on the windows.
Absolutely.
You want to just be close. Right, over here. Here, don't do it on the hardy board. Right there. Yeah,
We'll submit it approved. Okay, so. I guess it would have to. Well,
You might come back and do it as a,
are you trying to like start on this like in 3 weeks? Or are you trying to start?
Hopefully.
So I guess I would make the motion that it be, when we get to the point, make the motion that it be approved upon the submission of the window specs, but that that's kind of hard to do. But just that I guess we could say that the half round window is to be an Anderson 400 with simulated divided light. The storefront window is just a reduction in the glass size in Anderson 400.
Actually, that's a good, I'm not sure that I can get that in Anderson. It's actually a glass, insulated glass panel.
Okay,
You're talking the one facing,
but the frame is going to be all PVC painted,
correct.
and I'm not too worried.
yeah, I
about
mean,
it. And then-
worst case, scenario, come back in our old business for like an administrative review.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the folding windows are gonna match the specs on the folding
It's the
windows
same company, same.
of the already approved.
but those folding windows are described on these drawings here, right?
It just says new folding windows, but we already saw all the specs.
You do
At
that.
some point, we just want the size. So if we made a contingent upon that, I'm fine that they're.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna do what we're,
Yeah, good.
I mean, you're not gonna,
Thank you.
so. But just send us in the sizes so we have.
Absolutely.
And like I said before, detail. Do not be afraid to give us too much information.
Do I submit it to planning and zoning when you get it, or do you have a special box that I put it in when I drop it off?
How do you do it now?
Well, that's kind of what I was questioning. Do you want the specs to come in with the building permit application and then get forwarded? Or do you want them put in preemptively to review? It's really up to the board to decide how they want to receive these submittals.
I think you can just come to us on old business for the next hearing. and we
Okay.
Just check it, that it's not significantly inconsistent with what we've made a conditional.
Okay, but at that point, he could potentially have an approved building permit.
Yeah.
I'll wait to get the permit for the next 3 weeks. I'll wait.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah, sure. It's very kind.
But so can he submit that online? Tim?
Building permit
No,
application?
the additional spec, can he,
Yeah, he should be able to,
amend it
yeah, he should be able to
the
attach that
application?
to his application,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I'll do it both ways.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
yeah, so
I
it's,
said, I don't mind if it needs to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
That's obviously not, it's basically approved pending that, so.
yeah, I wouldn't anticipate a problem, so we'll still vote on it, but,
Right.
okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
thank you.
Everyone good?
Oh, good.
Anyone in the audience have anything to say in support of the application? Anyone against the application? All right, HTC 23-0028 is closed. Right, so we'll close the public hearings and move on to consideration of public hearings.
Do we want to recess for 5 minutes? Or you want
Oh,
to
you meant?
keep going?
Got a few minutes. I think
Okay.
we can probably get it in before, I think it's gonna go quick. My prediction.
Okay.
All right.
All right, HTC 23-0003. This is 7 Water Street. Any comments, motions?
So just to confirm my understanding, we're going with the navy blue awnings. And not
Yes.
that royal blue.
Why don't I have that one here?
I am
So, oh, go ahead.
significantly opposed to this because it still lacks a lot of the material.
It-
It concerns me that it overhangs the front street, which I believe it does, based upon my understanding of the project. I also, I just don't understand what this is gonna look like. And I'm afraid to approve it based upon what I consider to be a pretty vague submission. I also don't like the fact that we have no idea about these roll-up windows. We don't know the casing, we don't know the tracks, we don't know anything.
So, I mean, I compared this presentation to Adams, Young's, where that gentleman from the dealer, the Florida. He
Yeah.
had all that detailed, he showed the tracking system, he had all the different pieces. Do you remember that presentation a couple weeks ago? And this didn't have, I don't see any of the gear, like what does the pulley look like? What is just how far, there's gotta be arms sticking out. Like, what do those look like?
He also says they're retractable, but the submissions from the company seem to indicate they're not retractable. And then the guidebook seems to suggest that we don't approve non-retractable awnings. So I just think it's too conflicting with, I don't understand it, and I think it's too conflicting with what we should be approving, what we shouldn't be approving. And also aesthetically wise, I just think it looks horrible, quite frankly. It just adds more to already existing overhangs. That's less based on something, more an opinion. I cut you off though.
I was gonna actually, I agree with you and Bill completely. Also, lack of detail in this project, I think has hamstrung us before, so I'm very hesitant to vote something without detail. And I would also close on saying we have multiple open permits on this project, none of which have been completed. And, excuse the example, but when I lived in San Jose, California, they had the Winchester Mystery House, which is the house that had construction on it for 30 years. And I think this is becoming Mystic's version of that at this point. So I'm hesitant to approve anything else. So we had at least some of these other projects wrapped up. So that's my feeling.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think, in this case, I consider this all part of the same application. It's just an addition to an existing construction. So I'm not sure that that's germane. However, I do think that the quality of the presentation was sorely lacking in detail. And we've asked for more detail and we're not getting it. And I don't know what the reason for that is, but I mean, my inclination would be to do we have to vote on this now? Are we at the end of the time limit?
I think we've just done it enough that I'm kind of, this has been going on for far past the 65 days because continuance is on our end and continuance on their end. So I would make a motion to approve to vote to approve, and then I think we let it go to vote.
Goodrich second.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I withdraw my
You
second.
can't vote, you can't.
I
motion it.
understand, I understand now. My feeling is we didn't give him a chance to explain any of your objections, right? Like, when we had him here. I don't disagree with anything you've said, but why didn't we say that stuff when the applicant was here so he could adjust his package or his future?
I think we did, because when I was here prior
Okay.
to my vacation, I asked about the roll-up
Alright.
piece, and I said, where's the information relating to that? Because it's now in the thing, and he said, no, it's actually not part of the application. Then he
Right.
came back
Yeah,
with it
yeah.
being part of the application. We asked for the information on the tracks, never got that. I asked for the information on the awnings, never got that. Tonight we got, well, it may be blue, but it may be this blue.
Right, I
Actually,
understand.
maybe it might be red, like.
I-
I'm not super concerned about the color. I just, I don't get where it's going. Some of those pictures, I don't have any idea what they mean.
I agree with everything you're saying, Eric. I'm just saying, I feel like he needed more coaching because he's not getting the message. And so you could have taken him, we could have taken him a little more through. I think you articulated your objections pretty clearly just now, and it only took a couple minutes.
I
I
think I
think-
gave it to him in piecemeal, sorry.
Sorry.
So,
And I also
and
think it's
I
been in
can't go
front.
back and redo it. I'm just saying in the future, I would prefer all good comments. Let's give them to the guy when he's still sitting here and he can react to that and make notes, whatever, to.
And I think the difference is it's not his first time in front of us.
Oh, I'm intending not to,
Yeah.
I'm agreeing that it's not approvable. I'm not saying to approve it because it was, but I'm saying I would like for him to have more, the applicants in general, to have more feedback on it. And I know we've been giving feedback, but I think we have to have an abundance of patience with coaching.
I
So,
don't think it's appropriate if someone comes in for an application, we say absolutely nothing, and then we just vote no. I think that's completely
Right.
wrong. But this is, I think, the sixth time he's
Yeah,
appeared,
no, I understand.
and we
Okay.
haven't got it. And I still don't know what he's even applying for. Like, I can't. He has an architect, he has engineers, like, I mean,
Right.
Mr. Chairman, as a point of order, you can deny without prejudice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on the concept. And that would then allow him to come back with the required details.
Right. Right, because we're not, because I get the feeling we're saying he hasn't really clarified what he wants, and that would be without prejudice. If he, and he could come back in a month or something and reapply with all the details that are insufficient now, and then we could deny it based on, now we know exactly what you're doing and we don't like it, or we know
That's
exactly
fine.
what you're doing and we do like it.
yeah,
But
Again, you could make a motion to deny without prejudice and give a specific list of items.
Right.
That caused you to deny without prejudice, and that would give him information.
Well, except. with
And
the
then he
motions
could,
always- the
and then
motion-
he could additionally follow up on that and get more
But the
information.
point of order is always go forward with, I was reading about this in Robert's rules, because we talked about it before, to say we're approving. Because we say we're denying and it turns out there's not a majority or something, it gets approved sort of by negativeness.
Mm.
So you always say you're moving to
Voting to
approve and then deny it, I guess. Is what-
where we
Yeah.
can't, yeah.
We can't.
There's
move
only
to
very
deny.
certain instances you can make a negative motion.
Yeah, it's complicated, but anyway.
Right.
So,
I guess my only question is, it also seemed to be that you all felt the same way, that the look wasn't appropriate. So I don't have any problem denying it without prejudice, but are we denying it? Is there any value to doing that versus just denying it? Because if we don't like it anyways.
Well, I'm not sure I have an outward objection to the awnings per se. I just don't feel that we have enough information to really judge
Okay.
it.
So then I'll revise my motion. Well, no, it's just still the same motion. We just have to vote on it. No, I can't.
So are we making a motion to approve? And voting? Is that what you want to do? What's your
How
motion?
do I make a motion to approve with prejudice? Without prejudice? I
So
make
you
a
would have to,
motion approve,
you would have to retract your original motion and then make a new motion to approve.
And if denied with.
Well, no, I
prejudice?
think your original motion would stand. And then when we vote, we'd have to vote either with or without prejudice, right? Is that correct?
The motion should detail that it is you're moving to deny the application without prejudice.
And I think this is one of the rare,
Those are in favor of denying the application without prejudice, would say aye.
So then I retract my motion.
So just let me get one more clarification though. Because if with or without prejudice, we just straight out deny. He can still reapply if he changes something. He goes, all right, I'm going for the
He's
red.
gotta make a substantial change or else he's gotta wait a year.
Yeah, so I'm parsing what's the substantial change. He changes the color of the awnings, is that it? I mean, just takes the awning off the back. I mean,
I think whatever he comes back with is going to be substantial change. So I think just, quite frankly, I think just denying it,
yeah, okay,
just
I
denying
agree.
it, period. Letting him come
Right.
back with what's going to be a substantial change because there's nothing here that's substantial. So,
yeah, all
you know
right.
what I
So
mean?
almost anything's gonna, so it doesn't
Right.
really matter if it's with prejudice or without, because it's gonna be a significant
If-
change
if-
coming back.
If you're just looking for some technical details like mechanical items, things like that, I would say yes, if he's going to come back and the awnings are going to be larger, or he then intends to. Change the style or the coverage or, what they're doing, then yeah, that would definitely be substantial change.
I'm gonna say where I think substantial is, I think he misspoke when he says they don't cover the sidewalk, because I walked it. And kind of took his measurements and assuming everything's correct, it does go over the sidewalks. I think in of itself, that would be a substantial change,
That's why,
in my opinion.
that's why I asked the question again. Because I
Is there a problem going over the sidewalk?
thought it was
Don't the
against.
central block awnings go over the sidewalk?
They all go over the sidewalk.
I'm not saying there's a problem or not. I'm just saying it'd be a substantial change. That's all.
Right, but I don't think there's an inherent problem with going over the sidewalk.
Right.
I thought there was, I thought because it's town.
We've got all kinds
All
of
the
awnings over the
downtown
sidewalk.
ones, they're all over the sidewalk.
I think
Walk
that,
underneath them, I mean.
I guess the comment, at least in my opinion, on going over the sidewalk was just the fact that Water Street doesn't have a lot of visual obstructions going down the street. So when you cover the sidewalk, you now cover the walk. I guess I should have been more clear.
Okay, well, I mean, the handbook also talks about rhythm. And that would break the rhythm of the.
Okay, so I'll just continue with my original motion to approve. Period.
Goodrich second.
All in favor?
Goodrich, no.
So, all right, well, I'm not quite sure that if this is denied. That if he comes back with something that his change is gonna be deemed to be substantial. I'm not sure I understand what substantial would mean in that case.
I think substantial is, we have enough leeway to. We're gonna err on the side of substantial being substantial. I think if he comes back with what he's supposed to come back with, I think it's gonna be a substantial change. Right now, all we have is awnings held up with no brackets, no information. Plastic just like draping in the air. He's gotta come back with,
So the detail would constitute substantialness?
I think that's fine.
All right, deny, I vote to deny.
I vote
No.
deny.
I vote deny. Ferguson deny.
Keatsman deny.
So HTC 23-003 is died.
And I think we need to take our recess this time.
Yeah,
Sure. Thanks, Jim.
Sure. I'll make a motion to recess for 5 minutes.
Second.
Grab a water. I'd like to make a motion to reconvene.
Reconvened. HTC 23-0019 was continued. HTC 23-0027. This is the roof replacement. Any comments, motions? Make a motion to approve.
Goodrich second.
All in favor?
Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
I'm sorry, that was the roof.
The roof.
Mr. Ferguson,
The roof.
Ferguson, aye.
Keatsman, aye.
Right, HTC 23-0027 is approved. HTC 23-0025 was continued. That's the garage renovation. HTC 23-0026 20 High Street. That's the propane tank. Comments or motions?
I think it was really well done. I mean, I put propane tanks in at my house and they did a much better job hiding theirs than mine, so I'm impressed.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second Goodman. All in favor?
Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, aye.
Keatsman, aye.
HTC 23-0026 is approved. HTC 23-0028, this is 56 West Mystic or West Main, sorry, Street. So just to be clear, I will make a motion to approve subject to the AZAC trim being painted, the specs on the windows being presented, so we can review it on old business at the next meeting.
Brady, second.
All in favor?
Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye, and I'll just say it's a significant improvement. I'm happy that they're removing the vinyl siding.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like the Greek revival part. Put back to where it was. Ferguson, I.
It'll be an improvement. Keatsman, aye.
Right, HTC 23-0028 is approved. Okay, pre-applications. Brandon, you want to come up? I will make a motion to add. What are you, 7, 11? 5? No. I'll make a motion to add 5 Roland Street to the pre-application.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Goodrich, second.
Aye.
Aye, Goodrich, aye,
Brady,
sorry.
aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keatsman, aye.
Go for it.
Brennan O'Donnell, 5 Roland Street.
Oh,
We'll be replacing 8 windows on the house, 7 of which will be visible from the street. Anderson 400 series, keeping the exact same measurements of the windows. Real patterns will be the same. Mulling size will be the same, and dimensions will be the same for height and width. And same thing with moldings, everything will be duplicated.
So you're gonna match the windows that are there.
Completely.
Okay, so when you come with when you submit your actual application, you want to have some pictures of the whole house
Okay,
and the specs on the windows.
okay. That's nice. Okay, it's not the,
You may have them there, but
yeah, but when I do the application.
yeah,
full specs.
submit them with your application.
And usually a picture, of the house, these windows, so we know
Right.
what ones are being.
And maybe a shot showing the opposing or adjoining houses that nail a bit of a
Okay.
streetscape feel.
Okay. All these are the ones that are gonna be visible from the street, so from the street and full view of the house, basically.
Walk around, take a
Okay.
couple, and then take a couple from the street.
Okay.
is this the house?
No, that's Amy's house. Turn around.
Oh, okay.
Are they replacement windows?
So yes, so you
I mean, not new construction windows.
Okay.
complete replacement. Places.
So I mean, the trim's not gonna change, the outside trim.
No, that's not gonna change. No. Yeah, just that. Your patterns will be the same, trims will be the same. So that's one, that big thing. Basement. West side of the house. This is this is not one of the ones that's visible, but just for example, that would say. The window put in and that would be an old window. So that's would be the duplicate, basically, everything.
So it says that you sort of back up and see, we get a shot and a view of the whole house. I
Okay.
mean, not in these pictures, but just for your application.
Okay, right.
Anything else?
I also have 5 windows on my garage, 2 of which will be visible from the house, same thing. Complete duplicate windows.
So you wanted pictures of those. then?
Yep.
Okay, great.
And again, if you encircle them, just so it's abundantly
Well,
clear. And as I said earlier, detail.
Full specs.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
You know,
The application's online now.
And the next meeting is actually 3 weeks away, so you have a little, but you don't have that much time to submit. Where does he got till Thursday of the following week though?
Well, no,
Yeah.
yeah, because you're pushing it off.
Because I mean, yeah,
So, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
thank you.
Come on up. What's your address?
19 Cliff Street.
I'll make a motion to add 19 Cliff Street to the pre-application. agenda.
Goodrich, second. Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keatsman, aye.
All right, 19 Cliff Street is added. Sorry, procedural.
Didn't bring photographs.
Name?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Sabrina, oh. Point One Architects. So, our client just bought the house on 19th Street. And they have a lot of restrictions, including being in the HDC, so they're in a wetlands as well, or in a FEMA regulated area. The water's down here. Here we are, this is how. Here's the Mystic River. And then here's Gravel Street, and then you go up Cliff Street and there.
Oh,
It's like setback.
this is the one that Heather Giannakopoulos was selling.
Oh, that little low.
Yeah.
Oh, someone bought it.
That's cool.
I love
See if
that
you like
house.
What we're doing, well, we'll see. So the client would like to get a bit more room on the second floor, that's the bottom line, and he'd also like to. Like, there's bits and pieces of the house that are rotting, and so everything's gonna be sort of rebuilt. However, a couple of areas that need to.
Rena, you have to
I'm
look at
sorry.
the screen and.
Where's the camera?
Right above
Right
you.
above you.
Yeah.
But it's reverse image, so,
Okay.
I know. It's.
You're doing.
yeah, you got it right.
Okay, so this is the existing house. Everything. Okay, so this is the street view right here. These columns, they're rendering dark, but they're fairly elaborate and oversized. I haven't done research yet to see if these are original to the house. Mostly what we wanted to do is get your feedback, and then we would go back and do the research, see if it's even possible to do what we want to do. So from the street front, it's pretty small. It has these really cute dormers in the front. And then on the side is what is now a sunroom. It was probably originally just a patio. And then I don't know if it was a porch. But what we're dealing with is that this is what it looks like. It has some pretty bad bottom bits and then just glass above. So that's all of this is visible on the street. This side of the house, which is the west side of the house, is very close to its property line, which is right here. It's extremely glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get the hang of it. Okay, so this is the property line right here. There's an existing fence here. And the house is here with a bulkhead right here. So it's very difficult to get photographs and even walk around the house at that point. All of the back of the house you can see is like right up against the property line. So it's very tightly snugged back there. So the front of the house, we're trying to keep as it is, and the porch, we would like to actually try to make look better than it does, which is to change up the window configuration and paneling, which would have been more historically significant or accurate at the time. The other thing this is going to do is right now, this is flush with the grade. So water just goes in and out, you know, like it's just rotting out the bottom. So what we'd like to do internally is put a step and be able to flash so that we can stop water from getting into this sun porch. The bigger move that we're interested in doing is when you compare these side elevations here and here, is that we want to take this back dormer off and rebuild it so we can get him some more headroom.
I'm not sure we care about the back door because I don't think you can
That's
see
what
it.
I was hoping you would say, which is why it's a pre-application hearing, right?
You
For
really-
me,
You really can't see
you
it.
can't see it at all.
So,
So,
Yeah, because this is that issue about pitch on dormers,
yeah,
but you can't see it. so.
Yeah, but look, this is what you see from the road.
yeah, it's the house on the right obstructs it and on the left, I think the other house obstructs it too.
what you can see from the road is the front of the house and the this porch
Side.
element. Yeah, these side pieces, the property clears away. So I want to make sure to get your input on specifically on the porch pieces and then to ask the question, do you have records of what might have been here originally? You know what I'm saying?
So Mystic River Historical Society, which is up on High Street, would maybe have some.
Okay.
Also the Seaport possibly,
Seaport.
and the old Indian Economic Research Center may too.
Because I feel realistically, if these columns in historic times were not quite as huge, these are 16-inch columns. They're enormous. And they're fluted. The proportion to me just looks a bit overpowering for the building. However, if that's what it was, then we'll keep it. But if I can find proof that it was different, then I would ask, is that something I can come back with?
Are the ones by the front door
They're
similar?
They're
Same thing?
exactly the same, which is why I don't think they're original. But I'll check it out. They're just rendering poorly because of our line weights when we drafted it, but we'll improve all of that for you. I mean, they're nice. They're just big white columns. There's no taper to them. They're just I'm not sure they're authentic.
But they aren't on the other, they aren't on the corners of the house like with a Greek
No,
revival, because
they're
it's not really a Greek revival house. But they are on the sun porch.
They are existing on the porch, two of them, really, well, actually three of them, sorry. So there are three at the back. It's 1, 2, 3. It seems like it's been a bit bastardized. What I think might have happened is that the porch wasn't there originally and it was just a patio. And then that somebody added a porch. So that's what I want to do some looking into. And also just find out, like, what do you guys need to see? I mean, we're planning on using the Marvin signature aluminum clad simulated divided light. Any trim that gets replaced will match in kind what's there, and I can document all of that when I come back.
So even if you find, I'm just actually looking at
Okay.
see if I can find anything myself. Even if you find something, I'm not sure you necessarily need to like recreate the house to be what it was.
But what if we wanted to, like, what if we don't love these columns and we want to bring it back to something smaller or simpler? Do you care?
No,
Okay.
right? I mean, no.
You do.
This,
Well, we,
we care, but we
Yeah.
not to the detail that
Okay.
we're not asking you to go back and recreate a house from 1861.
Okay,
We want just,
right, to be sympathetic.
yes,
I mean, I'd say I'm probably the biggest historic stick in the mud on the board, and even unless somebody proved like those things were so historically significant, I wouldn't see a problem changing
Okay.
it. So I mean, unless
All
yeah.
right. That's cool.
it have to be really, really historically significant for me to care.
but I also kind of agree. So
But a photograph or two would be helpful.
Yeah, I do have photographs.
And so they're not fluted? Are they
They are
paneled? Or they are fluted?
Fluted columns, but they're just.
What year was the house built?
they're massive.
They're massive. They're.
I think this house was worked on by the same guy on your favorite house on River Road that we had the big controversy over, who built those oversized bay windows, which are still there,
Gravel Street.
or Gravel Street, yeah. He finished up on that house and he came over here.
Went around the corner.
16, the columns themselves are 12-inch diameter fluted with a 16.5-inch base. They're massive. So what do I need to come back with?
I doubt they're original.
I think,
I
I think if you come back with a plan that cleans up whatever it is, and
Okay.
I hate to say it's a stack pleasing, but like, I think we're not here to. Much as I sometimes argue the other way, you're not really here to force you to keep something, or recreate something.
Well, I'm not gonna tell the homeowner that.
I think the porch changes are really nice. I think it's an improvement. It'll kind of bring in
Yeah,
keeping.
right.
I think the rear dormer, if it's not visible, That's fine.
And we kept the front one, because honestly, they
right
have
there.
6'4" headroom up there. That's the highest.
Yeah,
So at first we were like looking at the front, it's like, you can't change the front of this building. It's just. The whole look of the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
but you want to come in with a complete materials list.
Yeah.
And you can use Boral or AZEC. Oh,
Well, the other problem is I want to get approval from you guys. And then, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the FEMA regulations, but we're in a 50% rule. So he's gonna do 50%, less than 50%. Wait the year and then do more. But my hope is that if we aesthetically get this through, then that can just move forward and he doesn't have to come back. Does that make sense?
if it's the same plan carried out, you
It's
can
just
take a
take-
couple years to finish it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a problem.
Right, but he's gonna have to stop work for a year and then go back in.
Yep.
So, but once we get this look, then that's what he's gonna do. I'm also not convinced the shutters were original, but. we'll look at that.
Can you just revisit, can you please just revisit the windows for a second?
So we're gonna use Marvin Signature Series, which used to be called Ultimate.
Mm.
They've changed again. And they're clad, aluminum clad, so it'll be on the exterior with simulated divided light. So we have a spacer bar in the middle and then two fixed pieces, one on the exterior, one on the interior. So the one on the exterior is aluminum clad as well. And what we'll do, because they do have them in different sizes, so we'll just match what's there. And it's typically 3/4.
Like for like.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Gotcha.
lights will match for sure.
Okay.
We do have a few new windows, sorry. I mean, the porch windows you saw are new. Those are casements. Again, we think it looks more charming and on the rear, we have some new windows, but in general, I kind of took the historic thing to the extreme. So where there was a window that we don't want to have, we're gonna put a fixed shutter in there. This is just something I've done for other districts, so
I like it.
it's a way of recognizing that there was something historically significant that changed. This door, in the back, there was a door there, and again, we would just put a big shutter there. That one, honestly, I don't think is as valuable, because I'm not sure that piece was original, so we could just clapboard over that.
I don't think we'd have a problem if you did that. It's in the back of the house.
That's my feeling.
Right.
And I think in the window, it's nice as just like a memory. The other thing we're doing is taking down the chimney from in the house, but we'll maintain the chimney on the outside.
Wow.
That chimney caused a lot of that
A lot of the damage.
problems, but
The other problem is that, I've been in a lot of old houses that I've measured. But this house should have, there's a beam here. In the middle, that's not, it's off by, I think, 3 or 4 inches. It's seriously,
I looked at that house with a couple of people.
it's
I
a
love
great
that
house.
house.
I love that.
It's a
Yeah.
great house. I totally agree. And they're not, it's a little house, but I think they'll be happy with the changes, so. Yeah. All right. So potentially I have to get everything back to you by next Thursday, is that right?
Is it next Thursday or is it the Thursday after?
It's next Thursday.
Is it?
But our meeting is 3 weeks.
It's 9 days from now.
Yeah, so 2, it's not.
Instead of 2, it's 9.
Right. So
You're
that
right, it
makes
is
up for
next,
the
I'm
extra
sorry, it
week,
is
yeah.
next Thursday as opposed to this Thursday. Right, right. It's 3 weeks before our next meeting.
I don't have that date.
I
No.
do.
For the next week from this
The one
Thursday.
that you want me to hit,
I want you to, the 26th.
the 26th,
Now we'll get you
October.
on the 7th.
October 26th submission, and then the hearing
On the
is
7th.
November.
And is that election day?
That is.
Yes, it
election.
is. Are we having,
I know, it's that.
I think this is not a federal election. I think we.
yeah, but I know they're not having a town council meeting.
It says it on the
Some
calendar.
Our calendar shows us having a meeting.
Yeah, John, I don't know, I won't speak for John. Will you, I'm not gonna be there.
Yeah, I won't be here either. See, I don't know if you guys will barely have a quorum.
What's a quorum? How many? do I-
3.
You'll be here, you'll be here. and you'll be here. The risk,
You need to get a unanimous decision.
I know, it's very scary.
A very scary group of people.
I-
Didn't we have that situation
These
years
guys are, I'm
ago?
not scary at all.
Years ago,
Many years ago when Dick Seeger was still on the board.
but we got.
We got it approved. I was sweating bullets.
That was before he was on the board.
Yeah.
He wasn't
was a
allowed
long
on the
time
board
ago.
then,
Okay.
back in the day. Your wife and my husband are friends. So you have to recuse anyway, so now, no.
I guess we'll be seeing you on the 21st.
Okay, good, I'll just bring everything next time. And it's all online.
Yes, the whole submission online.
Great, any questions? Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah, how,
What? How long have they been friends?
yeah,
Since
how,
when?
how intimate, I know.
Can we actually turn the recording off right now?
I was getting recorded. Right.
It's still a public hearing.
Yeah. I shouldn't be kidding around, but I'm curious, I don't,
Susan,
oh, yeah.
yeah, from the Seaport. my husband-
Oh, okay,
Visit development,
sure. All right,
they mixed them. COVID,
Oh. all right.
but they just had lunch together last night.
Oh, sure.
He's part of
Yeah,
the
I heard
girls.
about the lunch. All right, good.
Yes.
Was this-
That's me.
Okay, move on.
Okay. Anybody else?
Good.
Will you be here though next, like, will I have a quorum? Or should I call for, you know what I'm saying? Is there any risk? of-
There's only a risk.
Meeting's gonna be postponed because of members or whatever.
You'll let me know.
We notify.
It would only be like a last minute
Yeah,
emergency.
right.
Like
Okay.
if someone got sick or something like that.
That happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice to see you.
Appreciate you.
Any public communications? Okay, approval of the minutes, the October 3rd special, or we'll go to the regular meeting minutes,
Which one do you want to do first?
regular.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on October 3rd.
I will second. All in favor?
Goodrich, aye.
Brady, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keatsman, I.
The October 3rd special meeting minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of the October 3rd special meeting.
Thank you. Goodman will second. All in favor?
I'm gonna recuse myself because I was one at that meeting,
Brady, aye.
We can just abstain.
or abstain, I meant, sorry. Abstain, thank you.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Keatsman, I.
The minutes are approved. Do you have a conflict with the minutes?
Not myself today, I'm sorry. Rough day at work.
Old business? I think just a comment, but I think we're doing a really good job on this rewrite, even though it's not major. I think it'll be an improvement. For some typos, but also just for some clarity. And it'll be nice, I think, if we can wrap it up by the end of the year.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it.
Well said.
Any new business? No? Any enforcement stuff?
I talked to Tom, he said we have no updates for you regarding any ongoing items.
So I have a question. I'm downtown generally in the mornings to get coffee, but I stop in our office. So people see me and talk. And someone came to me and asked about the booths at the Chelsea Groton. And Tom told me that there was actually a letter that was sent to them. They were going to remove them at the end of the season, apparently during.
Yeah, and there's a second one on the lower.
Yeah.
side. Yeah, so they grew a second one.
So I was okay with that. I went back to the person who owns the shop and said, hey, you know, they're gonna be out here by the end. This is what it is. And she was fine with that. She then raised another point, which I thought was particularly interesting, was there was all this back and forth or real specificity required with relating to the fence on Gravel Street. So I said, yeah, and going forward, we've, you know, kind of created some leniency so that the heights are not restricted so literally. And then she said to me, well, then why is the fence in front of Bank and Bridge still there? Because the approval and the drawings in the application packet showed a 3-foot aluminum fence and there's like a 18-inch aluminum fence. If you made that, she was upset. If you made, what did she say? She said, if you had to make them come back and reapply so that they could put a higher fence up in front of my friend or something like that, why do I have to stare at this little dinky fence? I think that's exactly how it was said. It's some, and I thought it was just kind of interesting. So I guess my question is that if we had to go back and redo that whole fence and give them more height, why is that fence still allowed to be there that doesn't conform with the original application? And you weren't part of it.
I
so
wasn't
it's-
part of it.
yeah.
I don't know what the discussion was regarding it, if the language that was used was said up to. I don't know. I would have to look into it further and talk to Tom regarding it.
It's been, I think Tom's annoyed with it, 'cause it's been going on for a long time. But it seems to be a consistent complaint from like neighbors and abutting businesses and
And what was that? What was that again?
bank.
The brewery.
The brewery next to Mystic Pizza.
Bank building.
Okay.
I hate to say it, and this is as a commissioner and as a resident, kind of seems that if you just ignore things enough around here, town government just gives up and moves on.
What?
If you just ignore what somebody says here long enough, they just move on. And it's unfortunate. And I always hear from our town staff, they don't have enough staff, they don't have enough this, not enough.
Well, I kind of had forgotten about it myself. For what it's worth. So I went back and looked at the original approval. And which is the only reason why I sort of question it was because there's this detail on the outdoor seating area fence detail, and it says 3 feet tall, top to bottom on the original submission. That's what was approved. And I know we had gone back and forth about the look and everything, but if we had no leeway in the height for the Carroll's fence and had to go then reapprove it, why is there leeway on this fence? I think that was the question.
Would, yeah.
And if we're upset with it, which some of us have and some of it hasn't been in the past, some not on the board anymore. If we are upset with it, do we want to go back and make them and say that they have to correct it?
Well, if you remember, most of us raised objections to what that fence looks
Yep.
like.
Yeah,
And I think that Tom, though, seemed to think the fence was okay. So nothing ever happened, but I still don't like that fence.
I mean,
And if that's the case,
can we request that Tom revisit the fence?
if that's the case, I have a tendency to agree, and especially because it's still continuously brought up by neighbors and other businesses and whatnot. Not frequently, but here and there. And the original application packet shows, just so you can see it. That, which is says 3 feet right there, and has that detail. which
And the
does not-
fence that's there now, I don't even think the posts aren't even really set, the semi set in the
not.
ground. They're kind of like just hammered into the ground.
It's like a Home Depot garden fence.
Yeah.
Right. Which I wouldn't be opposed if those were hammered into the ground, just so long as they're 3 feet tall. I think the point was to enclose it and make it.
Wasn't that part of the requirement for his liquor license that there had to be fencing there?
There is, but a lot of those got overlooked during COVID.
Right, but it's not COVID anymore. I could be wrong, we'd have to look, but I think part of the height requirement had to do with his liquor license, so he might be in violation of his liquor license also.
It is, but it's not our. Good point, but it's not our.
Right, just throwing it out there on the record.
Yeah.
I know it's not our purview.
So I would make a motion to ask that it be enforced to the original approval. Otherwise, I just think two things. We didn't get what we approved, but the town didn't get what it approved. The town didn't get what we approved. But secondly, I don't think it's setting a fair standard because we're enforcing somewhat subjectively. If we're requiring it to be dead on somewhere else, it needs to be dead on across the board. Or we would need to have approved it with leeway like we're doing now. Plus or minus 6 inches, whatever.
I'll second your motion.
Wait, I'm just.
we're requesting them to come and make an application for the fence they've installed.
We're
I guess-
asking Tom to go look.
No, I guess what we're saying is it's not in.
It's not in
Right.
compliance,
Right.
so to write them a ticket for being
Yeah.
out of compliance kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then what do they do if, once we do that, what happens?
I think it would be the same thing as happened on Gravel Street. They would have to come and reapply. I mean, why
Or
would
build
why
the
would it be
fence that
different?
they
Or-
got approved, right?
Right,
Correct.
or put in the fence
I'm
that
just,
we.
just
Yeah,
making
well,
sure.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I think either come back and ask for it to be modified to what's there, or build what was approved.
But I'm also feeling like we're doing this because we have complaints more than we're trying to enforce everything.
But
No, I think that we've,
There's a
after the
history.
fence, the Carroll fence, we've been very particular about
Okay.
when we approve fences, we're saying 6 feet top to bottom, plus or minus.
Yeah,
And even that little black fence that we did over on Pearl Street,
yeah.
we said
Yeah,
36
yeah,
to
yeah.
42.
Oh, it came out nice, by the way.
Yeah, looks great.
And Ted, I actually hear what you're saying and kind of agree. Unfortunately, we all have
No,
a,
I'm just.
so complaints are what forces the
Yeah,
enforcement actions.
yeah.
You know, we're not driving around town looking for with our tape measures.
All right, no, I just
I think though,
understand.
we've run into the problem where what's in the packets is what is approved unless we stipulate orally or written otherwise.
Right.
So when John, raised questions about the approvals for Pizzetta as an example, it was stated very clearly that whatever they submitted in paper form is what was part of that application, and we
Mhm.
accepted it. So I think here, we may not have specifically gone back and forth with them on any detail except for the detail that's in the packet, but that's what was approved. And that's not what exists. Significantly enough to
Yeah,
to
so
make a
there,
difference.
are there other things in the? Like the arrangement of their picnic tables and
That's
their
not,
fire tables and all that stuff is articulated in the,
no, that
I mean,
doesn't,
if we're gonna. Ask them that they're out of compliance, why don't we get all the things that are wrong with it? Because I think there's perhaps more than the height of the fence.
well, the movable objects, we don't have a choice over.
Oh, okay.
Landscaping, we don't have a choice over. As far as the rest, I don't know. I think the only things that were out of compliance, they either rectified, like the patio.
And the
Right,
Right, like
lighting,
the
remember
speakers and
lighting?
the backlighting.
Yeah,
So
they
we've
got-
had,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see something else, by all means, but. I just thought it was an interesting point. And I think that we've never liked it, and we've
Yeah,
found ourselves sort of on deaf ears.
yeah. How do you find them so quickly, Eric? Do you have an index for, or you just,
I just searched the original approval and downloaded it.
He did that before this meeting because of that complaint.
so you
oh,
prepared-
okay. So what was the date that we approved it?
It's like one of my first meetings was almost 2 years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Well, they did
Like
several
August of
approvals, so I remember I was here,
21, I think.
I witnessed the signs at one point.
2105, which would have been February 5th, 2021.
Thanks.
And I think her,
5th, 2021.
I think her point though was. I'm not out there with a measuring tape, but. You're not even close. Can you see it? Anyways, I don't wanna drag this out, but.
But I think I agree.
Well, but the last comment though, just, and I'm sorry, I'm belaboring it a little bit, but 3 feet fence, 5 feet fence, I mean. If they would have came in the beginning and said it was a 3 feet fence and a 3-foot fence, and that's what they put on. Like I'm trying to
Right.
test out, what's the egregiousness of this
Well, I think,
to people? I mean, the other case that you're referring to, there was a, irate neighbor, right, that made it a
Well, I
big
think-
deal, but.
I think what. I don't wanna specifically speak for. The neighbor that doesn't like this, because if they wanna come, they should come and say
Yeah.
it themselves, but. I think the comment was. A 3-foot aluminum rigid fence, like they put in on Pearl Street, is not a push in the ground. Kind of rickety.
Rickety, yeah,
Liked rackety better, but
yeah.
rickety,
Rackety.
I just think that a significant, according. I don't know, I don't wanna put my words into it.
And I have to
Yeah, no,
rewatch the video, but memory serves that it was a required height for the liquor permit, but I could be wrong. I'd have to rewatch the video.
Yeah, no,
I don't recall that coming up, but I'm not sure.
I think.
no,
that
I'm
in-
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand.
I don't wanna, I don't think as a commission, we should start going back and like
Yeah.
start reviewing everything, because I'm sure we're gonna find things here and there that are out of compliance. But it needs to be, I think, enough to be sufficient, and I
Mhm.
think here you're talking about two completely different things. Not to mention, we've had a track record of objecting to it that's gone on deaf ears.
Yeah, no,
But I
I get
think
that
the
part.
point, which is, you held someone to a rigid standard. But you didn't do it here. Granted, it's the other way.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
I
well
understand.
taken, and I didn't really think about it until it was said,
No, I understand.
so. So I would make a motion to find it out of compliance and have the zoning official review it.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor?